Hello, and welcome to Stef Talks Trash. I'm your host, Stephanie Valentic, Editorial Director of Waste 360, and today I'm talking trash with Tom Mooradian, the Senior Manager of Environmental Sustainability for PepsiCo Recycling. Over the past 2 decades, Tom has been setting the agenda for PepsiCo's recycling program. With the PepsiCo BottleLoop program, Tom hopes to close the gap between consumer and producer for PepsiCo's plastic bottles and aluminum cans. Let's hear from Tom.
Thank you for joining me today. I'm looking forward to hearing more about PepsiCo and the company's mission and BottleLoop and the relationship with Replenish. So can you please start, just by telling me a little bit about your role and how long you've been at PepsiCo, what you're seeing in terms of sustainability?
Sure. Yeah. First of all, I'm really happy to be here with you to be able to talk about some of these things because they're near and dear to my heart. I've been with PepsiCo for about 20 years, but the last 9 or so of that, so I started out in various roles, R&D and innovation and supply chain. And about the last 9 years, I've been dedicated to sustainability, and specifically for the last several within that role, I've been solely focused on helping to build the circular economy and boost recycling here in the US. So this is a personal passion as well as a career passion for me.
So tell me about BottleLoop, how this is aligned with the company's mission, and what exactly does it entail?
Yeah, so I'll start. Our vision for the world is really for our plastic packaging to never have to become waste. What we're trying to do is to make sure there's a home for it, that anything we're putting on the market doesn't have to end up in a landfill or littered or anywhere else, that there's a easy, convenient place to put it where it can be transformed back into a supply chain and utilized as a valuable resource. And so as part of that, what we're trying to do is to build up. Actually, let me take a step back. PepsiCo Recycling is kind of a brand within our sustainability platform, or within it's the voice that we use to talk to our consumers. And so we're kind of using the PepsiCo Recycling platform as an opportunity to spin off a new program when we talk about this BottleLoop program, which I'll get to in a little bit more detail here in a minute. But basically, PepsiCo Recycling is set up such that we can support the circular economy in a number of different ways, through education, through providing resources and tools to equip people to recycle better or more effectively. Also through programming, and we have specific programs like our Recycle Rally K-12 school program, which is very focused on building an audience that can grow and learn through a consistent long-term program. And then overall, just kind of activations, events, and different ways of bringing recycling to the forefront. But infrastructure is a huge piece of that, and that's where BottleLoop fits in. What we're trying to do is boost the infrastructure across the country to be able to bring recycling to bear, to be able to make it widely available and easy and convenient. And so we kind of address that in 2 ways. One is at-home recycling, which we're addressing mostly through our partnerships with the NGOs, groups like the Closed Loop Partners and the Recycling Partnership. They do a great job at helping to build that infrastructure and make it feasible for people, convenient and accessible for people to recycle at home. But the on the go, the away from home, is where we see there's still a huge gap, and there's not a lot of work being done, not enough work being done. And that's where this BottleLoop program comes into play. It's really focused on the away from home audience.
It's really interesting to see how you're kind of tackling the issue, because it comes at scale, and that's a really tough thing to do. So you need to tackle it from all different angles. And it sounds like you're really, trying to do that. So where does the partnership with Replenish come in, and how does, technology come into play to make sure that this happens?
Yeah, so the way it works, we've partnered with Replenish as a really trusted, valued third-party partner who's going to help provide the missing piece of the puzzle. So kind of the 3 prongs to BottleLoop are PepsiCo provides the bins and basically the startup costs. We know a lot of our customers who want to get involved in recycling don't know where to start. There's just, they're focused on other things, but they would like to do something. And they know we have a little more experience in it. And so we can bring them not just the recycling bins, but sort of the expertise on how to set things up, and also the startup fees to get a hauler qualified in their area that can pick up the material and to build the critical mass in a community to make it financially viable for a series of customers to be able to participate. And so we bring that to the table. Replenish brings the technology to the table that makes it ultra efficient for our customers. So instead of having a bin on a routine schedule, say you've got an 8-yard container in the back of the store, you're going to pay a hauler typically to come pick it up, regardless of whether it's full or not. They might come more frequently than they need to. Replenish enables the customer to set it up in a way where they can just on demand call for a pull. Okay, it's full today. We need you to be here. And they'll be there probably within a few hours or no more than a day. And so it's really convenient for them to set it up and optimize the hauling so that the cost can be significantly lower. Hopefully this will save our customers significant amounts of money in many cases. And it also just makes it convenient so they know what they're getting. And it also gives them the assurance. That's a huge aspect of BottleLoop, that it gives the assurance that we can trace this material, we can validate that it indeed was recycled. And I think a lot of people have heard, all kinds of stories out there and concerns, some of them valid, but in this case, we're able to prove and verify that what we're picking up is indeed actually going to be recycled, and we can tell them where.
Yeah, and it's really important to to have that data to show your customers, we're not just taking it and collecting it. It really is going to the place, wherever it needs to go to make sure that it doesn't end up in landfill, and that's incredible. So are there any, you kind of mentioned it's a 3-pronged approach. Were there any particular challenges or anything that you need to address to implement this program?
Yeah, so the first prong is our responsibility. The second prong is replenish. The third prong is really the customer, and what we ask of them is just to provide the space. The physical space is the biggest thing, to be able to place the recycling bins, and then minimal amounts of labor to service them. But really, we hope that the net there is there's less going into their trash cans, more going into the recycling bins, so it nets out to be really minimal to no labor impact. So it's that's probably the biggest ask of the customer, that they've got to just be willing and able to partake in it from that standpoint. And then communicating about it, it's up to them. I think the bins do a great job speaking for themselves. They cue people, this is what it's all about, recycle here. So you don't need to do a lot of promotional messaging, but if you choose to, it can be a great opportunity to, give your consumers, as one of our customers, give the consumers a reason to believe or a reason to care about your business.
So how does this align and kind of amplify PepsiCo's other recycling and sustainability efforts?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, it really complements our other efforts because it's addressing the away from home niche. We know a lot of people live in multifamily homes where it's inconvenient, or they live in areas where you just don't have access to curbside recycling. So this program enables us to target people who have limited or no access and or low participation rates. Even if it's available, maybe it's not highly visible or easy, maybe not just widespread. And so in this case, it's at a place, hopefully these customer locations that we're partnering with are places that they're going every day. So the consumer will easily, it might be a bottle bouncing around in the back of their car. They just toss it in the bin when they're at the local convenience store. Or they might be going to the big box retailer to go buy groceries and other supplies. They can participate there, hopefully. That's sort of the vision. Even at events, our vision is, large event venues may jump in on this, and college campuses, and anything and everything, restaurants, and you can see how it can grow. And that's one of the other exciting aspects of this, is that we hope it's got potential to scale nationally and really drive measurable, meaningful results.
Yeah, I mean, going along with events, one of the things that, before I had an opportunity to speak with you today is that, I noticed at the NFL draft in Cleveland here, not too long ago, that you had the big plastic bottles set up for recycling. So it's really interesting to see what PepsiCo is doing, to make sure that it is convenient for consumers, whether they're walking around in an event, to, instead of having to look for a trash can, you have something very distinctive to be able to drop your bottle into to make sure that it does get recycled.
That's right. Yeah. And so what we're trying to do, we're offering recycle bins that are intentionally designed to reduce contamination, to make it obvious that they're recycling, not trash. That can also be paired with trash cans to make it, just convenient, so you don't have to walk any further. So yeah, we're trying to place those anywhere and everywhere we can to be able to to increase recycling. We've got to find the right partners to bring it to life, but that's really what we're setting out to do with this launch of this new BottleLoop program, is to expand on some of those efforts, like you mentioned, where we've already found some great partners over the years, trying to build it out and make it more widely available to a broader base.
So how many bottles are you, what's your goal for how many bottles you want to save from landfills? Like how many do you expect to save, or, as you can't save everything all at once. So do you have step goals that you're looking forward to, or, what is your goal for how many bottles you would like to save from landfills?
Yeah, so that really depends heavily on how many customers we can recruit. It's somewhat out of our hands, and we've learned through a decade of this PepsiCo Recycling program that we cannot do anything alone. We do need partnership in order for it to happen. We think we've developed a program that is really going to have potential to spread widely and be adopted nationally by that wide range of customers that I talked about. So we have high hopes that we can make an appreciable, measurable impact on national recycling rates. But, we know those numbers are in the, the billions of containers versus millions. And so it's no easy task, and we're going to need a lot of help to get there. So that's what we're setting out to achieve.
So once the bottles get into the containers, where are they going to be? Where are they going to travel once they're collected?
So they will be picked up by Replenish, and then they will be hauled to, it's really going to be dependent upon locally. There's going to be partnerships with local recycling centers and baling facilities and storage facilities that Replenish coordinates. And that's part of the startup fees that we talked about that we're going to help cover. Is we're establishing market by market where this is all going to go. But essentially, it'll be handled in places where it can be verified to be clean and separated, so that although we expect lower contamination rates than a typical curbside recycling bin, we know we're still going to have to do some handling and sorting to verify it and bale it up. And then we expect extremely clean bales to be able to distribute from there onto the network of reclaimers or recycling processors.
No, absolutely. It really takes collaboration between not only producers and consumers to make sure that things are recycled or reused. So it's really going to be interesting to see where this program goes in the future. You mentioned contamination. Are there any other efforts for consumer education to make sure that they know that, if they're on the go, to make sure that bottle isn't contaminated once it's collected?
Once it's collected, I think that's part of what we're going to track and report. So at the customer level, being our business partner level, we will provide the reporting for that. And some of them may choose to share it with the consumers who shop at their locations directly. We may eventually build that out and make it more easy to access and see for everyone. But the idea is we're going to track and say, here's what we collected this day, here's when we processed it, here's where it ended up, so that everybody can see what happened to the material and know for sure that it indeed was recycled and separated. And obviously there'll be some, maybe there are some contaminants that get thrown into the bin at the customer location. That'll get separated out, so we'll know what the weight is that came in and the weight that goes outbound, and we'll be able to determine what the level of contamination is. But we expect it to be minimal based on some of the piloting we've done, because of the styles of the bins that we're offering and the communication and messaging we're putting forth.
So, you alluded a lot to what this means, being able to collect data to kind of track everything and make sure that people know that, PepsiCo is doing the right thing. What kind of opportunities does this open up for the company in terms of sustainability and other recycling initiatives that can be implemented in the future?
It's a platform upon which we can build. So there will probably be variations of it. As we build it out, we're going to find each customer has specific goals and needs, and we may find that they want to be able to do a unique twist on it. We've already seen some interest in a varied model where there's instead of a everyday pickup, there's an event-based pickup version of this that may evolve. So I think there's going to be opportunities to spin things off and to build upon it and make it kind of tailor it to individual customer needs as we go forth. But we really want to just get it out there and gauge interest and build it up as much as we can right now.
Well, thank you again for joining me today. Kind of winding down here. Do you have any additional thoughts on BottleLoop that you would like to tell the audience, or any other initiatives that you're currently working on that we'd like to see in the future?
Sure. I will tell you, we've named it BottleLoop, and that's because we're all about closing the loop, and PET bottles are a big commodity that we're emphasizing, and we're trying to make sure we get recycled content back into our bottles as well. So that's another big reason for this. But I will say it's beyond bottles. It's we're also addressing aluminum cans with this, and certain customers can address other material commodity streams as well. So it doesn't have to be limited to bottles. I hope the name doesn't throw people off a little bit. There are other commodities, particularly aluminum, that work really well and convenient to be a part of this. So I think that's the big thing. As far as what we're trying to do, I think I would encourage people to check out the PepsiCo Recycling website and our BottleLoop website, and just to get involved. If you're a customer, if you're engaged with PepsiCo in any way, you can reach out to us. We also have a support box, an email box that's called support@PepsiCoRecycling.com. So if folks have any inquiries, they want to ask specific questions, they can feel free to reach out to us that way as well.
Thank you once again for joining me for this episode of Stef Talks Trash. For this and other episodes, please visit waste360.com. Have a great day.